thank you for joining us on this not so rainy day, but still wet. I know it's been a different convention. I feel like every convention we're dealing with something in the past couple of years, but we are so happy that you are here to spend the rest of your afternoon with. I hope you are all ready to relax and talk about food, because after this, it's the end of the con, so you can go eat whatever you want. And we have people who have lots of recommendations, so whatever your heart desires, maybe we can help you point you in the right direction.
In case you didn't know, this is Culinary Quest's iconic pop culture eats. If you meant to go somewhere else, well, just stay here. It's always important that we do a land acknowledgement, so we are acknowledging that we are on Tongva and Juaneño land. This is the land that we're occupying on. We've gathered together to learn. However, that's the original stewardess of this land. We also wanted to shout out that it's International Trans Day of Visibility. And so if you scan the QR code, we have clickable links. That link will list 4 iconic trans chefs that you should follow. And potential trigger warnings. Although this is a panel about food, I don't really plan on us talking about anything that might incite strong feelings. However, I've listed a few that could happen. So we always encourage people, if you feel uncomfortable, you can get up and go. We are not going to feel offended in any way. Take care of yourself, your mental health, and your well-being.
And if you want to snack a little bit, do it.
Yes, we have snacks that were passed out, and they were provided by Grandiloquent Productions, the person right there.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, welcome everybody to our panel. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself first. I'm one half of the happiest pod on earth. My name is Stefanie Bautista. I am an educator, and I am Filipino American. I'm a Los Angeles native, born and raised, but I do love to travel. And that, I think this food panel is gonna be a lot of different things that I've experienced, not only being in I think one of the richest culinary cities in the world. And I love to eat anything fried. I love baked goods, anything that's pretty bad for you. And I'm, getting up there in age, so I'm gonna start feeling it very soon. But all that to say is, life's very short, so enjoy whatever you get. Oh yeah, my passions are being a nerd and things like that. Stuff and things, Disney food, all of it.
And my name is Ariel Landrum. I am the other co-host of Happiest Pod on Earth. I am a cis-het woman, Southeast Asian diaspora, and I'm a therapist. And so food enters my world in that I talk about it with my clients along with many other things in our therapy sessions. As for fandom foods, Disneyland churros are #1. And then as for food, coffee is #1.
For the both of us. As a therapist and an educator, it's like, put an IV.
Yes, right in there.
Oh. Hey, what's up? My name is Earl Baylon. I am an actor, improviser, writer, stuff. I was trying to do it without looking at the slide, but I failed so horribly. I do a lot of voice acting. You might have heard me if you played Tomb Raider games. Or if you played Smites, or Avatar: The Last Airbender, Quest for Balance. I'm Avatar Roku into those. Rise of the Ronin just came out. You might hear me as Kachikatsu, a few things. But I, in addition to like acting stuff, I do stream as well, and that's where a lot of my food kind of knowledge comes from. I used to have a cooking stream, and we would make a menu based on our favorite IPs. So it was called Pots and Pan Eatery, and we would take an IP like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then we would create a menu around that, 4 or 5 dishes, 3 or 4 dishes. But we did that with Game of Thrones, some other ones, but we'll talk about that later. As I identify as all there, my favorite foods are burritos and noodles, not necessarily at the same time, but maybe we should try it.
I think we sat in the right order.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Okay, hi everybody. I'm Calloway. I'm a filmmaker, producer, director, writer, author, a lot of things, musician. Probably one of the coolest fandom things I got to do there's this unreleased web series called Mortal Kombat University where I play Jax. I've been trying to petition the showrunner to like at least just give me some footage so I can have it for stuff like this, because we put a lot of work into that and no one ever got to see it. What am I supposed to say? Like my favorite food and stuff like that? I mean, I love pasta, like all kinds of pasta, any kind of pasta. And fandom related, I've started kind of obsessing. I love to cook, so whenever I hear something like random, like in the show I'm watching, I was trying to figure out how to replicate it. So for the last couple of months, I've been trying to, there's an episode of Community, you know, where they do the split timeline thing, and Shirley is making pizza with ketchup and cream cheese. I have almost made a delicious pizza with ketchup and cream cheese, and as soon as I perfect it, I'm going to share it with the world. But yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes doing that as well, but I'm on the way to make this.
How come you've never guinea pigged?
Because you guys live far away.
Fair.
With
Yeah.
traffic.
Fair. Well done, Nicole.
Yeah.
Kathryn is stuck in traffic. She will be on her way. She, however, is a chocolatier, a real live Willy Wonka. So, and she might have some chocolates to give away for someone who wants to ask a question.
So let's put out some traffic gods just pardon.
Hi everyone, my name is Marco Lazo. I'm a Filipino American. I am a sous chef for a French restaurant out in Hollywood called Petit Trios. You might have heard of, I mean, if you're really into food, the chef that I work under, Chef Ludo Lefebvre, he's a little bit of a celebrity chef, so he's always in and out of the restaurant. Me personally though, like I'm a simple guy. I enjoy cheeseburgers. I love fried chicken and Jack and Coke. That's kind of my favorite drink. It comes with the job. And I enjoy long walks on the beach as well.
Yay! Go back.
Everyone was saying what they are, so I guess I should say I'm black.
Thank you for that clarification.
We just started, so you can introduce yourself. As soon as you sit down and are comfortable and everyone is snacking. Yes, it's the snacks this time.
Perfect timing. Hi everyone, my name is Kathryn Rogers. I am the founder and CEO of Anaheim, which is a craft chocolate company based in San Diego. We love creating magical experiences for our customers.
So glad you're here.
We just have a description on what fandom food is and how it shows up. There are 5 different ways it shows up. There are replicas, when we are trying to recreate something, as Chance said. There are themed things, like when we throw themed parties. The one we have there is Dune, not the popcorn bucket. There's marketing. So we have our Oreos, which are just Oreos, but there's Pokemon, right? So that's our fandom. There are brands. We might follow a food brand like in and out so much that we'll wear the gear, right? And then the final one is iconic. We might follow a food that we will wear or buy. And if you're a pizza fan, Disney Eats has a collection that came out where you have pizza ears, a pizza shirt, and a pizza Loungefly backpack, and I may have pizzaed all of that.
Right, and the reason why we are talking about fandom food in relation to pop culture eats is because we are fans of not just comic books, TV shows, movies. We are also fans of things that we love to eat because we enjoy it, just like how we enjoy these media types. So I think myself, and for I'm sure many of the panelists here, we have our own favorite foods and we're big fans of them. So we're gonna, find a pin that has ramen on it, represent, or
Spam earrings.
spam earrings. Right, things that speak to our soul, our stomachs, all of that is an experience. So I think being fans of food is just another way of expressing yourself creatively and connecting with other people who have the same interest.
So, to the questions, panelists, when you think of iconic pop culture eats, what comes to mind?
And we can go down the row
Or shout it
out, give it a moment. And you guys in the audience can think of that too. We will have a space at the end for a question and answer, so yeah.
I've just been like, ever since you said the phrase "a fan of the food," like this particular food. Oh my god, I can't stop thinking about this. Have y'all ever tried these blueberry almonds.
Where do we get them?
So they're only in gas stations. For the most part, right? But every time I go to a gas station, I have to check now. I turned my sister onto them, and then like a week later, she sent me out like a store display, like 12-pack. So
Good sister.
yeah, I know.
They're blue diamond almonds.
Blue diamond blueberry almonds. So that's I just had to say it because like I'm their number one evangelist. So.
Spread the good word, brother.
I know I mentioned this in the previous food fandom panel, but from Tropic Thunder, Booty Sweat. I always think of that because they sold it for a short while, and I just
Did they really?
They did, yeah. And I meant to get a 6-pack, but I didn't, and now I'll never know what it tastes like.
Chad, can you describe what it might be for those who haven't seen
Well, I believe it's an energy drink. So it's probably just,
Malpuccino!
yeah, it's probably all just carbonated sugar water, and it's probably terrible. But just with the title like that, I just wish I had the cans up in my apartment. Just it's a conversation piece, I think.
I mean, definitely for me, I love anime. So, I mean, the most iconic ones are always like Studio Ghibli films, where, like in Spirited Away, where the parents and, I'm blanking out on her name, this is embarrassing, where they end up at like a food festival.
Yeah, Chihiro.
That's a good Chihiro. So when they end up at the festival and the parents start picking out and actually turn into pigs, like I think about that kind of food where it's just like you're so addicted to it. So definitely anime is my mainstay of like food.
My background's in marketing before I got in the world of chocolate, so I'm obsessed with really strong brand messages around food fandom. And honestly, I think of Coca-Cola, which I know like love them or hate them, but they're global, and I will not forget being in remote places like in Ecuador and Costa Rica, sourcing cacao and chocolate for the products we make, and there's just Coca-Cola umbrellas and chairs, and people are obsessed. And I was in the jungle once, like literally the middle of nowhere, seriously, and this guy had his 2-liter bottle of Coke that he had refilled with some potion or elixir because he did like this like traditional shamanic work, but it was so pervasive, and I'm like, that's cool, if you can have that level of allure and love, that you have people in remote places that are carrying a brand around with them. I think that's inspiring. So, I mean, I love their approach to storytelling, right? It's like straight nostalgia. It makes you want that Coke, especially when it's hot and like humid Ecuador. It's pretty sweet. So I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have an actual answer to the question now. I'm not just playing blueberry almonds. I've been watching the Bear, such a good show. But the but the moment he recreates Ecto Cooler in that one episode, I'm like, that is a taste of my childhood, and it brought me back. So I think one of the most iconic in my head is Ecto Cooler.
Awesome. Next question. Have you used fandom food or have been inspired by pop culture food in your professional careers? Let's say you thought of something, you saw something on a movie or TV and you're like, I want to recreate that but my own kind maybe? Or anything of that realm.
I mentioned pots and geekery in my old cooking stream, and I brought up our old IG, and just the amount of things that were, and that was basically the entire premise of our show was we would take an IP and what it inspired us to make, and we were all about like the dishes and the pun names. So of all the dishes. So I'm gonna pull up one. So we had one which was our Star Wars episode, and we did a scratch-made horchata with banana bits in it, and it was blue. It was our take on the blue milk, but we wanted to make it Filipino. So it was we called it. So hence the banana. We put banana cube in it. If you know what that is, it's like barbecued banana or plantain bits, and then it's with caramelized sugar. So blue banana milk is what we call it. Yeah. And then we did what we call the lightsaber battle. So we took a bunch of root vegetables, parsnips, purple potatoes, green beans. That's not a root vegetable. But we took all the colors of lightsabers and then we fried them into fries and called it the lightsaber battle. But and the last one for Star Wars is we did cheese crusted tortilla, charred saga, pickled red onions, guac, and a fajita veg slaw, and we called that our Darth Molitas. So, yeah, we did that for a long time, for like a year. So.
Puns be funny.
Sometimes the dishes didn't have anything to do with like we just wanted a pun. Yeah. The pun always came first, and then we created the dish around it. So.
I know definitely for me, I've been watching Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix. Very cool, we have some fancy. And one thing they'll do is they're cooking monsters, but then they're turning them into like, I don't know, gourmet meals. So every time I watch them create a gourmet meal out of these monsters, I'm kind of like, all right, so how would that transition if I wasn't cooking like a cockatrice, you know, like what would I use instead? So definitely I seek a lot of some kind of transformation between that and trying to like replicate it at the restaurant. And unfortunately for like all the employees that work there, they have to be the ones to try it. But you know, like I'm learning, they're learning that, you know, maybe things should stay on TV shows.
Have you had one that was successful, that you would call successful?
Oh yes, actually one of them was the very first recipe. It was like a scorpion walking mushroom that they turned into like a noodle bowl, and I actually made the recipe, and you guys are gonna see it later on.
Yes.
Nice.
So if you scanned that QR code earlier, you have access to our cookbook. We will show the QR code again later, and it's slides in the book. Cook slides. Cook slides.
I'm getting hungry and I'm trying to monsters. I'll have to come through the restaurant.
Please do.
Yeah, for me, chocolate is all about nostalgia, right? And these sweet moments. And so, two standouts, of course, are Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the creative plays on like just fun things and the magic of unwrapping a bar and having that golden ticket, right? So, some of the products that I've created over the years, trying to just create something fun and unique with marshmallows and rolled and chocolate and stuff like that. So, there's a recipe in that book as well that's a play on one of the creations from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then the other one for me is, I don't know if you all have seen the film Chocolat, but
Yes.
it's one of my favorites.
Sorry,
Yeah. Obsessed! And it's so beautiful because it's like the romance and the story and the allure. And so we do a lot of drinking chocolates, and in the film, there's this sweet, sweet romantic moment with her and Johnny Depp, and she's been trying to guess his favorite chocolate for the whole film, essentially. And it turns out it's hot chocolate, and she finds it at the end, and it's like that kind of like moment of like, ooh, there's like more here. And so we have a spiced hot chocolate that we serve. It's one of our signatures, and it's like that process of trying to create a drink that has that romance in it, in some form, you know? And that little heat from that chili spice, and what that feels like, not just because it's delicious, but it's like, ooh, this could be a sweet moment. And I always think when people come to our cafe where we serve all of our drinks, I'm like, maybe that will be their little romantic moment too. So.
I love how you connected it to like a feeling and like transporting, like you talked about nostalgia and now you're talking about just big emotions when it comes to eating something. And I know there's an anime I used to watch, I forgot what it is now, but basically it's she has a long day at work and then she goes to different places and tries like a new izakaya, which is like a pub and a bar. And every time she eats something, she exhales, shoo. And it's just like that relaxing moment of just like enjoying whatever you drank. And do you remember what it's called? Nichijou? That's the one.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
audience.
Thank you, audience.
Participation, yes.
Thank you. Because our brains are just like, woo, right now. So yeah, I think that's so important to have like those little moments of just like pausing to enjoy like what you eat. Because it's a big memory to come back to.
Yeah, I think like for my profession as a therapist, one of the ways that I engage my clients is we do like a mindfulness moment. And sometimes it's stopping and savoring something. And especially when we're talking about the fandom food, when you the Santa Claus, like that hot chocolate. And I had clients who went on the binging for Vanish, like YouTube, and learned how to make that hot chocolate, and they like savored that moment. So it had nostalgia, it had discovery, because they had to learn to kind of how to make it, and like connecting those two experiences. That's exactly how therapy is, taking your past and your present, joining them together, and hopefully unifying them in a way that's healing. Chance, did you want to add?
Oh, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, I'm one of those people that, like, you know, I watch Drag Race, I'm like, I could do that. I watch the cooking show, I'm like, I could do that. And when I write, especially like when I did the novelization of my web series, Pretty Dudes, one of the characters is a cook, and so I was trying to come up with like interesting recipes that just sounded good on the page. And then I live alone, unfortunately. So what I did was I just started cooking all the things that I was writing in the book, because I was like, will these taste as good as they read on the page? So that's something that I do. It's kind of just like, it's a little personal, you know, but like it's fun, and it also helps me feel connected to this world that I'm creating.
So Pretty Dudes cookbooks coming up.
Sure, yeah. Don't give me something else to do.
Is there a place in real life where you've had fandom food experiences?
And I mean, we put the example of Super Nintendo World because they have done a very good job as of late personifying a lot of the things that you may or may not find in the world or interpreted thus. So, yeah.
And I'm an annual pass holder. So this morning I was at California Adventure and I was at Pim's Test Kitchen and I ate tiny eggs. So that's my experience literally this morning.
I think it's in the slide, but one of my friends, Dante Blasco, who played Zuko, right? I remember to say that this time. But I know him best as like Rufio, because that was my childhood. And in Hook, there was a scene where they did a food fight. And when I first moved to Cali and then met Dante, he was like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do a recreation. And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. Like, let's do it. Like, you know, I as a kid, you know, who doesn't want to be in a food fight, especially like with Lost Boys? And it was miserable. Like everything's sticky, everything's a different temperature. It was nasty. I'm glad I did it. But yeah, it's definitely the difference between fantasy and reality for sure. Yeah.
And we have that footage at the end of the slide. You will see how immediately.
I just immediately started screaming, and I screamed the rest of the time. I did not enjoy it at all.
We do make it look glamorous, though.
Oh, exactly. So how? Marco?
I mean, like an obvious one is like Disneyland or going to Universal Studios. I mean, those places are just pure fandom. I like going over to like Harry Potter World and just grabbing butterbeer and, you know, like watching my blood sugar just skyrocket. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
Today of all days, you're gonna bring a burger? I had to say something, sorry.
That's pretty worth it. One of my favorite moments, so I've been a long time goer, I guess, I don't know what word to use, to Burning Man, which is like the magical world of creating various things. And one of the times I ended up at a Mad Hatter tea party, and they went full out. I mean, we're like talking straight down the rabbit hole. Needless to say, I was not like doing anything crazy substance-wise. It was just like a normal day in life. But it was like people in the costumes and the hats and the tiny special teacups. And it was especially magical because you're in this environment in the middle of nowhere, and the level of curation. And it literally felt like I was transported to another world. And it was super fun and cool. So that was a special thing.
The Szechuan sauce from McDonald's.
Have you been watching the anime?
No, I have not.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no.
Yes, they have a series on YouTube. They have an actual anime.
I saw the poster. Oh my god. I'm so behind. I'm still watching The Bear.
Wait, what's the sauce from?
Rick and Morty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It also has ties to Mulan, right?
Yes.
The Mulan
Oh, because it's from the Mulan promotion.
Yes.
Right when it came back. That's right.
Right.
I dressed up, unfortunately, at WonderCon like a few years ago as Rick, and it was right when that episode dropped, And I don't know how many times I've been yelled at from across the way, just, Szechuan sauce! Like, it happened like 10 times, and I was like, yeah! And I hadn't seen the episode, so I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Am I deficient as a cosplayer right now? But, yeah.
Didn't throw anything?
No, thank God. Because it was hard to find. He probably like recording it. So.
All right, now we're opening it up for all of you to ask questions of the panelists. We may have giveaways if someone is willing to stand up and ask a question.
So I love cooking, and I have a bunch of cookbooks inspired from anime, cartoons, comics. What is your guys' favorite cookbooks that are out there? Not yours included.
Okay, well, it's not an anime one, but it's Anthony's from Queer Eye. I really like his cookbook, I bought one at Comic-Con. Neopets, the Neopets cookbook. It's freaking awesome. The artist that did it is awesome, and it's all desserts basically. I mean, there's food there, but I made desserts. Those are my two.
I mean, I go down the Disney Parks cookbook. I try to recreate all the things, even though I know the churros you can technically buy them at like Food for Less or whatever. I'm not gonna do it, but I'd rather try to make it myself. But yeah, I go do that. Yeah.
It's funny. I actually don't own a lot of cookbooks, but like, you know how I'm gonna shut up and just say what book. The Dragonlance cookbook. Are there any D&D fans out there? It's all right.
Yeah.
So Dragonlance, nice. Thank you for being here and witnessing. But yeah, Dragonlance. I think it's called Leaves from the Last Home. There's a cookbook out, and there's one dish on there, Otic spiced potatoes, and that is like the it's the one dish like that is actually mentioned in novels over and over again, and yeah, that's my favorite cookbook. Also, the Tomb Raider cookbook is pretty good. I love that.
Did you voice it?
Did I voice the book? They should have hired me to do an audiobook.
Yes, they should.
I'm gonna pitch it. Hey, what's up with this?
Favorite cookbook, the original Patty LaBelle cookbook.
What?
I'm a huge Patty LaBelle fan, and I think I got into cooking just because Patty LaBelle was cooking. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah. Since I do it a little bit more professionally, I pick up like cookbooks all the time, and I barely have time to go through them. But definitely sauces by Joel Robuchon, and Food Matrix is a lot of fun because it really matches a lot of like flavors you would never go well together. So like steaks and cocoa go really well together, or lamb and shrimp, so it plays a lot on like the algorithms, I guess, of the flavor profiles. So that one's a lot of fun to read. And the most recent one was actually the Bob Burgers cookbook.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a crossover, but there's a phenomenal chocolate shop in San Francisco called Dandelion. I don't know if anyone's been there. Big fan. Big inspiration, and they have a cookbook that's just epic. And one of the things that they make is like homemade marshmallows.
What?
Yeah. So good. So we did a take on those marshmallows because part of my brands is we're all about like really natural, healthy options that are also super decadent and delicious. So we took their recipe, but then made it with raw honey and did honey marshmallows, and that's like people are obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with them too. They're so good. So I love reading different recipes. That's an example, and then doing like little healthy twists on them, which is always kind of fun, and exciting.
Okay, and this first giveaway is a Ghostbusters
Flamin' Hot.
Cheetos, and it was donated by the Ghostbusters of Los Angeles. So here you go. Bye. You in the blue.
So there's a lot of really good foods, but what's one food you've seen in fiction that you're glad doesn't actually exist in real life? Like probably the grossest or worst you've seen.
So, as a kid, I was already adventurous as like, in the kitchen and stuff. But you remember how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles used to have really weird like pizzas and stuff, like marshmallow and spam. I did that. was not good. For my taste buds and my stomach. It was just, I'm sure, like, if I had, more of the skills I have today, not that I have a lot, but I have a little better understanding. I could probably make it work, but 10-year-old me was an idiot, so.
Does anybody like Zoolander?
Yeah! Orange mocha frappuccinos?
Orange mocha frappuccino. I was working at a boba shop at the time, and I was like, you know what? Let's make an orange mocha frappuccino. And I guess we got like the coffee and the orange part way too high, so it just did not. It does not taste well. Like the bitterness of the chocolate really brings out the sourness of the orange. Not good.
Don't you build me up. Yo, epic scene.
I keep trying to think. The first thought that came to my mind was the health, but I'm not going to say that. There was any Judy Blume fans in the house? Yeah. Okay, so back in the 90s, they did a television adaptation of Fudgemania as a television movie. And that was my first introduction to not pad thai. What is it? The goose gut stuff? What's that called?
What?
Pate. Thank you. But because of how it's introduced in the film, I will always think of it as goose guts. I would never think of it as like actual edible food. But there's this hilarious sequence when they're all sitting down to eat this wonderfully prepared dinner, and one of the children explains to everybody that it's goose intestines, and it's just to this day I still can't eat it just because I think of that scene. It's probably wonderful, but I'll never know.
Okay, would you like the Ghostbusters Cheetos or a Minion? Banana.
Banana.
Yeah, right here, Mark.
First to Kathryn, Coke is being so pervasive. Have you ever seen the movie The Gods Must Be Crazy? No. Where the Coke bottle falls on the Calloway. To each of the panel members, what's your favorite culinary scene in either a movie or a TV series?
Mine, hands down, is still them making the Cuban in Chef. Yeah, I love that one. This is my second, and it's kind of weird now that I think about it, is when in Hannibal, the TV show, when he makes ossobuco. It looks great, but it's so good.
To mention ossobuco, I always think of The Office, where they have the dinner party, and she's making ossobuco, and she's like, oh, it'll be ready in 4 hours. And Pam is like, you mean 4 hours from earlier, or now?
I would say, I'm so gay, but there's an episode of A Different World where Diane Carroll and Patty LaBelle are playing the moms of the main characters, and they're trying to prepare Thanksgiving dinner, and they start fighting over the dinner, and that to me just hilarious, because they're arguing about what to stuff the turkey with and all that. It's so good.
I mean, Ratatouille is by far, and that whole movie is about food, but when he learns how to make the ratatouille and they serve it at the end, I'm just like, that is so great. Like, to take something so simple and make it epic like that, it just warms my heart. It's so cute. And then my other favorite is from Beauty and the Beast, the scene where like everyone's collaborating and they're making the feast for Bella. It's just like, it's so good.
Radiant service.
I want to be in those scenes right now.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's the waitress. I've always wanted to try that spaghetti pie. Yes. And I'm supposed to go with, the next time it comes to town, I hear you get pie at the musical, and I'm going to go with my roommate. And we're gonna have eat pie. It's not spaghetti pie. I'm going. Yes.
Oh, and Ariel's gonna give another giveaway.
No.
From Brand Eloquent Productions, it is a Minion. Banana.
Is it Kevin?
Kevin!
No, it's Carl. Come on, Kevin.
In the blue sweater. You have plenty of time, so.
So I like to cook, but I love to bake. It's my favorite thing to do, and it's kind of like an outlet for me. So like when I'm have high anxiety or I'm stressed, I just like to go home, bake, and just kind of get lost in it. But with all the beautiful things that I can bake, I have a guilty pleasure of eating Oreos. Anytime there's a new Oreo out, I will buy it. I have friends that will text me pictures of new Oreos that are out, and I will like make them. Okay, get it for me. Do you have, being a chocolatier, being a sous chef or sous chef? Okay, you have some great experience there, but do you have guilty pleasures of foods that you would eat that your friends would be like, but why? Because like my friends make fun of me. They're like, but why do you like Oreos? I'm like, I don't know. It's a guilty pleasure.
I'll go first. Yeah, I mean, this is not even, it's something I make at home, but it's weird. I love roasting a whole chicken and eating the crispy skin off of it. Yes. It's like, I'm so into healthy stuff that like that just speaks to my heart. I'll like stand there and just eat the whole thing. My boyfriend's like, that is so gross. It tastes like pork rinds, but like straight out of the oven. This is the best thing ever. So if there's an option, and I'll like go to friends' houses if they're like making a roast, and I'm like, can I just have like your crispy skin? I guess.
That's like the best.
So it's like the best part. I mean, yes. If you haven't had it, that's too right.
And then like I know for myself, I work crazy hours, like 12, 14 hours a day, 5 days out of the week. So I try to eat as healthy as I can. But there's something with the nostalgia factor, which is Mountain Dew for me.
Dude, I was about to say Mountain Dew! Sorry.
Especially if it's from Taco Bell and you get the
Baja Blast, yo.
That is the best drink in the world.
What's Baja? I haven't tried this.
It's their like lemon lime kind of, yeah.
I might do that on my way home.
Yeah.
Actually, don't do
You have to get my condom with it though.
All right, I see a young one. Yes. Favorite dessert?
Dessert.
I am a cookie gal. Any type of cookie. And all the cookies, every cookie. Mostly chocolate chip.
Yes, I can concur with chocolate chip. Just like Oreos, if there's a new chocolate chip bakery or a bakery that sells chocolate chip, I have to try it. I told Chance a couple months ago, if you search cookie on my photos,
Yes.
you're gonna get like 200 pictures.
Yes.
And
Camera comes first.
yes, and I love having cookies. Cookies in the classroom. When I was a teacher, I used to teach 4th grade. I would always have cookies just on hand, whether it be chocolate chip or sugar cookies. Whenever it's Girl Scout cookies, like I would have cookies all the time.
And we waited for those cookies at the harbor at Disneyland.
Yeah.
That was like a trend. We kind of waited until the end of the trend, but we still got those cookies.
They're kind of mid.
They're mid, but you know, we got them. I know that.
We did it.
For the crowd.
Yeah, for the crowd.
Yeah, favorite dessert, chocolate. Like, I love chocolate so much. And my one of my good friends, she actually lives in Vegas now, but in high school, she's from Spain. So whenever she would go back to Spain, she'd always bring me back a chocolate bar. And it's, I mean, she's probably my favorite person because of that. It's so good. So good.
I mean, this is totally cliche, but I do have to second that. Like, especially chocolate bars from around the world.
Right.
Yesterday we had some friends over for like a little pre-Easter thing, and we had this Oaxacan hot chocolate mix that was like toasty and roasted. Like, Oaxacan chocolate just has this flavor profile that's so unique and special. I actually got it down in Oaxaca last summer, and I'm like, I'm saving this. I was like holding on for that moment, and it was so good. So yeah, any chocolate from anywhere, especially if it's like bean to bar or single origin or something really fun and cool. That's my favorite.
You know, I have a follow-up question to that. I have a friend who does not like chocolate
At all?
Like at all.
And
I
is this
also
allergic?
I also have a friend that's allergic to chocolate. So
I have a theory about this. It's a little judgmental, but I'm going to say it. Which is like, okay, so chocolate and cacao, which is what chocolate is made from, is very heart-opening. There's an actual aspect. There's a compound called theobromine. I'm not going to get too nerdy with it, but it actually like
do it. It's WonderCon.
It like physiologically increases the flow of energy through the cardiovascular system, which is why when you eat chocolate, especially like pure dark chocolate, it actually can create like a warming sensation in this part of the body, which is awesome. So my theory is that sometimes people are a little like closed off, and I think it might actually make them uncomfortable. or they're just little weirdos. Too. But yeah, maybe. I dated a guy in my like pre-chocolate life that didn't like chocolate, and I like went back and I'm like, yeah, that was never good.
The red flags.
I mean, as an educator, like you try to give them alternatives, right? Because you don't want to force it on them. You want to be like, you're not liking chocolate. What alternatives do you like give to people? And I guess this is for the panel too. If you have a favorite food, one that speaks so much to your heart, and that person doesn't like it, whoever you're conversing with, do you try to go, oh well, do you like something else that makes you?
You're dead to me.
I mean, I used to try to meet them where they're at. I mean, it's hard to empathize with people who don't like chocolate, because that's a food group for me. But there's so many great foods out there that sometimes I'm just kind of like, okay, well, what are you into? Because we're going to overlap somewhere, So that's kind of what I try to do.
Yeah, and I think that in hospitality, that's part of our job, right? Is exactly like you said, meeting people where they're at and finding a connection point. Because at the end of the day, I think what many of us are talking about and the reason we feel such nostalgia and closeness with food is because it's about community and it's about memories and making meaning and sitting together and having a chocolate or traveling somewhere, and it makes us feel something, So sharing is a big part of that. So yeah, I mean, to your question, like just meeting people where they are. Like there's always a dessert, like your question perfect. Like there's always something that we're gonna find the middle ground on. And I'm always curious to ask people like, what foods bring you a feeling of like joy or remind you of home, And then finding ways to recreate that, or be like, what are the emotions or experience, because it's also about experience curation, right? It's about the food, but it's the context by which it's being shared within. And I think that's part of the fun too. Like a lot of the stories we're sharing are like, oh, like I was in the world of it, right? We're like immersed in it. So however we can create even just the feeling or flavor of that feeling, that's a big part of it too.
To answer what my favorite dessert is, it's ice cream. And specifically, this is like very specific, buko pandan. It's a Filipino thing. So like buko is like young coconut, and then pandan is like an herbaceous grass that is very unique to Southeast Asia. And there's only a few brands. You can only get it at Filipino markets. There's 2 brands, Pampanga and Magnolia. So if you want to search for it, you can go. It's green too. So yeah.
But there's other ice cream places like Wanderlust.
Oh yeah, Wanderlust. Don't you do a pandan?
We do.
Oh, nice.
And this ice cream shop is known for, because they travel a lot, they pull flavors from their travels and they make ice cream flavors based on their travels. So it's a really cool spot to check out. There's one in Echo Park and one in Tarzana, California.
Yeah, value knowledge.
Anybody else? Our last question, Mark.
Did everybody talk about their favorite desserts?
I really like sticky rice and mango. It's definitely a sleeper, but yeah.
That's good. Right here? I know you were raising your hand.
This will be our last giveaway.
Okay. Can you guys think of a food in your favorite anime or any cinema that doesn't exist in this world, but you think, oh, that might taste good? Like a fantasy, like type of ingredient or dish, and then maybe Marco, you can answer some. What would you use to kind of recreate it here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put like one out there. The everlasting gobstopper.
Ooh, nice.
So we make a time release something like gum or something.
For me, I've always wondered what a phoenix down tastes like from fantasy. Because I assume it's not salt. You gotta make it, well, I guess this should be a salt. I don't know. What does that taste like though?
I mean, for a phoenix down, it would probably be, it's gotta be something very pat in your face, but then also it's revitalizing at the same time. So let's call it Pedialyte. Lemon lime flavor to it to really get that joy.
Lemon lime.
All right, it's candy.
Next to the blue diamonds.
I know.
I don't know if this answers your question, but I really want to take a bite out of the Stay Puft Marshmallow. Specifically, the Stay Puft Marshmallow. It probably just tastes like marshmallows, but I really want to try.
Or like the tiny ones from the new Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bite-sized.
Bite-sized.
Oh, I haven't seen
And
that.
they cook each other.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty vicious.
You should make those.
That's an idea. Yeah, this is good. Okay. I'm gonna have a busy week. I'm gonna be cooking a lot of things.
With honey marshmallows.
Yeah. Should have brought the honey marshmallows.
Okay. All right. Well, these are some cookbooks that we aren't affiliated with, but we know are good. So there you go. You can click on them. Additionally, this is how you can follow us. But we'll go down the line, starting with Kathryn. Where can people find you? What are your projects? What are you doing? Where can they eat your chocolates?
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Have you guys seen Hot Ones?
Yeah. All right, here we go. So if you're into chocolate and happen to be in San Diego, look up Maya Moon, M-A-Y-A Moon. We have a shop up on Adams Avenue where you can get all your drinking chocolates and chocolate bars and confections, and we also have our products online. And I want to give a special plug to our Chakra Chocolate set, which was the first product that I created with Maya Moon. And we talked a little bit about this before, but it's a journey in mindfulness through chocolate. So it kind of merges like the chakras, and if you're into The Last Airbender, there's a really great scene from that. It's all about chakra alignment. So it's a beautiful experience. It's actually sold out right now, so it's a little tease, I'm sorry. But it will be back in the next couple weeks. And if you go to our mayamoon.com and go to the shop and use the code WonderCon, you can get 20% off your first order. We'll take that, make note of it, whatever you need. Yeah, but that's where you can find us, and it's all good chocolate.
So the main way to reach me is through my Instagram. It's right up there. So I spend a lot of time at the restaurant, of course, Petit Trios. That's P-E-T-I-T T-R-O-I-S. It translates to Little Three, if you forget. And if you ever decide to stop by, send me a DM, and I'll give you like the best hospitality ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is there a WonderCon discount?
Text.
I set a high bar first.
Just DM me first.
Yeah, I have a incredibly shrinking social media presence, but you can mainly find me chancecalloway.com. I'm in production right now on the next season of my series Pretty Dudes, which is set in the San Gabriel Valley. We're actually working on an exclusive 626 boba that we're going to be rolling out pretty soon for that. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm at home all the time. My face looks like this, it's because I live in a cave. So.
You look great.
Sexy. Yeah.
I'm online everywhere at Early Be Good. That's A-R-L-Y-B-G-O-O-D-E with an E at the end, like Johnny Be Good. I can't talk about anything I'm working on. I can give you a discount to my, what is that? Yeah, Cameo discount. That's a thing, right? Do people even use Cameo anymore? I have no idea.
Word up. That's all I hear when it's Cameo.
Word up!
Yes, and me and Ariel, we are co-hosts again on the Happiest Pod GT.
Yes.
We basically talk about things like this, food, and other things that have to do with Disney, its affiliates. We have hot takes on a lot of things when it comes to remakes, experiences at the parks. We tie a lot of our own personal experiences into it. So as an educator, a new mom, I have a lot to say about different things and navigating, finding your space within, and also keeping yourself as an individual through motherhood on the podcast. And yeah, with my best friend here, we do a lot of fun stuff together. And if you ever need a recommendation, DM me. I will give you all the recommendations. That's like my favorite thing to do. All my classroom parents always love me.
And Aside from the podcast, I'm also a therapist. You can find me at guidancett.com. I also am the board member, educator, and editor of geektherapy.org. It is a nonprofit where we educate people on how to use their fandoms as part of their mental health and wellness.
I should mention also, I'm not in the classroom anymore, but I'm a programs manager, so I basically do after school, before school enrichment programs through Los Angeles. So there's a lot of work on that as well.
These are our references where we got definitions. And there is a picture, that's your teaser. There's birthday boy Dante Bosco, and there's very angry Chance. So if you want to see that whole video and get these recipes, you need to scan this QR code.
And if there's no other questions, I know we're a little bit early on time.
Which never happens.
Which
That
never
means there's
happens.
time to do
What?
selfie with the audience. Yeah. Whose arm is longer? Chance?
Also, I produced an acting movie called Lumpia with a Vengeance. I forgot that.
Literally food.
Yes,
On your hat.
it's on my hat. So there's that.
Wait, did you guys have
We don't.
Con is over.
Yeah.
Con is over, but the movie is available everywhere that you can buy VOD, so Amazon and all that. And it's also, they can't even buy downstairs because it's Con's over.
Can you give us a one-sentence description of the movie?
Yes, it's an action comedy where a superhero uses Lumpia as a weapon, kind of like a ninja star, and he defeats bullies. So yeah,
Lumpia is like an egg roll.
it is. It's Filipino eggplant.
Flinging egg rolls at people. Okay,
I'm
all right.
also open to more questions.
Yeah.
We can chat.
Ariel's like not listening. We're soft. We'll take a better one, Ariel. Go ahead, question.
Your opinion, what's the most underrated fictional food?
Underrated?
Oh, Chance has that.
Oh yeah, I was going to try to go in full panel without mentioning it, but yeah, in the 1980s it was the Alice in Wonderland miniseries, and her little eat me cake. It just looks like the most delicious thing in the world. So
I agree.
Yeah, we've been commiserating about this for a couple years now. Yeah.
Can I add maybe overrated food? Because I think of overrated food, I tried Turkish delight.
Turkish delight. Yeah.
It was not a delight.
It has such a wonderful
It was not
name,
delightful.
and
That was
then
also
you
taste.
taste it, and it's just not. There's no
not
delight.
delicious.
Yeah.
That's a good
Something comes to mind, I'll shout it out.
Yeah, good question. Something will pop up.
Oh, right here, the middle question.
Is there like a specific person you guys, like in your personal life, that like projected you guys to this level of food?
This love of food?
Yeah.
Yeah,
From this
okay.
whole food fandom, like is
Yeah.
there like a person you guys can credit to like the whole, like guiding you to food?
Aside from family.
Oh yeah, fashion. My mom traveled a lot, so
Yeah.
she would always talk about different breads that she would eat around the world. That's why I eat bread around the world.
And my dad, rest in peace, he's a military man, and we moved a lot. And when we lived in Korea had a lot of themed food places to eat at. And at the PC Bong, I would always get like Hello Kitty themed things, so
Nice.
that's where it was. That's where it's at.
They do love their themed restaurants.
Yes.
There was a couple in Koreatown, like in Crazy Hut. It was a pirate themed place.
Yeah.
It was wild.
I got two answers to that. One is the candy dispenser at the gym where I used to take swim lessons for it. They had Mike Mikes in there, and that was like my bribe to take swim lessons. And that was where I first became a sugar lover, and that's what inspired, having a chocolate shop and cafe. And then my first job in high school, I was 14, and I worked for a company called Madeline's Cookies, and learned how to make cookies and brownies all by hand, and worked for them for 4 years. And Madeline was a huge inspiration to me. She was this pretty intense, but in a good way, Italian businesswoman, and she was strong, opinionated, and knew her stuff, and definitely I learned a lot from her.
Yeah, I stayed underfoot the women in my family to my dad's chagrin, and so my aunties and my grandma, rest in peace, they would always teach me how to cook different meals. And then when I was in the military for a couple of years, and some of my friends would teach me. They taught me how to make lumpia and stuff like that. So just always the women in my life, because it's cooking is gendered for whatever reason in American society, and so like it was mostly the women in my family and my female friends who were just like, oh, you're a good cook. Like, let me tell you how to cook this. So
I know for me growing up, it was always watching Iron Chef, like the original one.
My ass is broke.
They're all Japanese, but it's like dubbed over, and I just found it fascinating that they would reveal an ingredient, and they're like, all right, here, make 3 different like gourmet items. And being that young, I couldn't fathom. I was like, how can you create something with one item and like make it that good? So that's kind of what inspired me to follow this career path.
In addition to like Iron Chef, I'm not at your level at all, but also growing up, my mom was a cook, and everybody always loved everything she made, and she had an obsession with cooking shows, particularly Ming Tsai. So we have all his cookbooks, and there was kind of like what made me think about food more, like how to replicate it or how to create flavors. Was that exactly?
Yeah, great question.
And that was, we had the last question, the signal. So anybody got a quick one? All right.
Go-to place to travel to for food, or where you're mostly going for food.
Oof, too many
I
places.
was just in New Orleans. Such a good culinary scene out there. Everything is so rich and like flavorful, and you could definitely feel the soul in there. And having everything available in LA is like, I feel like I'm spoiled because if I really want like a specific Korean dish, I can go to Koreatown. If I want a specific Ethiopian dish, I can go to like Little Ethiopia. But definitely New Orleans is such a good place for food. Everything I had there was pushing really.
I go to Steph's house and her mom feed me. She's great. Yeah, I recommend Steph's.
I lived in Anchorage, Alaska for a couple of years, and there's some really delicious like seafood like places up there. Just they have so much seafood, so they just figured out different things to do with it that you can't really get anywhere else. So I don't recommend going to Anchorage if you find yourself there. This is really good food.
I mean, out here, like in this area, definitely Koreatown, good spot. San Gabriel Valley, always a good spot. I know like Garden Grove also has a great like Asian food scene. As far as seafood goes, I always go to like San Pedro. Like that has some like bomb seafood.
What's it called? Is it still around? What's it called? Village, or is it?
I think it's actually
Oaxaca City, incredible. Wow, like such rich cultural history expressed through food, and if you're into chocolate, again, thematically oriented there. They have this drink, it's a cold drink, and it's just chocolate, but they whip it and shake it in a certain way that it's like thin and sweet, like almost like a really good milk chocolate, but a little thinner. And then it has like a 4-inch layer of foam on top that tastes like chocolate. It's mind-blowing, like one of the best things I've ever had. So if you find yourself in Oaxaca City, highly recommend. I don't even know the name of that drink, but be like, do you have that iced foamy chocolate drink? They'll probably know what you're talking about. More locally, just across the border in Baja, the Valle de Guadalupe is an incredible wine and food region, and if you're into wine and or like Mexican, like northern Mexican cuisine, there's incredible food there. That's just so artistic. A lot of it's featuring locally grown produce, so you're really getting to eat with the land and seasonal, and it's exquisite and very accessible from a price perspective.
That drink is called Tejate.
There it is.
That's it.
There you go.
So good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, audience. Yeah.
I'm glad that you knew what I was talking about. You're so good at describing it. I'm like chasing it in my mouth.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is, but I taste it.
Is that